Looks like we're live. We're live. We're live.
Are we live?
It
Yeah,
says
we're
live.
Yeah.
It's ticking live. We're live. Thank you
Are
all
we
for coming
live?
to Just Pure Talk with
God, I took the wrong intro.
that was like church.
Yeah,
It
that's
seemed
gonna
to be
be
like
weird.
I'm waiting for the
it seemed to
pastor
be
to
like
come
a
walking down the
well,
aisle.
well,
Hello,
yeah,
brother
exactly. That's what I
John.
was saying. It
It's
seemed like a
brother
church.
Akai. Be
It seemed like
blessed.
a church. You are blessed, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, hi everybody.
You're
This is DJ
blessed
Verm
to
here
hear
with
our
the guy
voices.
and Sam Truck. That's all blurry up there. For some reason, he's blurry. I don't know why.
Must be his connection.
Just Pure Talk. Yes, Just Pure Talk. Episode 34. Hey, we're going great, guys. 34 episodes now.
Yeah.
I mean, we used to have another podcast, so I mean, it's not our 34th podcast that we've been doing because we've been doing it for a while. But I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, is like we're at the episode 34, so we're almost gonna be crossing a year. We still got more to go. It's 52. But still, I mean, I'm surprised that we're hopping and kicking and having fun still doing on. So yes, everybody tonight, just to remind you, everybody, we have a sponsor. It's Rootless Wrestlers. So if you guys want to get some swag at Rootless Wrestlers, go to their website at www.rootlesswrestlers.com. God, man, blah, 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 blah. And you got
Rustlers.com.
yeah,
In
exactly. Thank you
English.
very much.
In Canadian.
Yeah, in Canadian. So yeah, exactly. And we have a code here, 10% off your bill.
It's good
Yes.
for 10%
So
off,
it's
which is awesome.
Verms fans right at the bottom there. Verms
It'll
fans.
scroll right down here at the bottom.
Yeah,
You'll see it.
RR10. Yeah, just write that down and you get an automatic 10% off.
Verms fans RR-RR10.
Yeah, and
There you
don't forget to come and listen to us on Instagram, X, Facebook, and we got. I'm just saying all right away because we're
We
going to
got a
be
lot of
kicking
them.
off afterwards. So Spotify,
Verms
iHeartRadio.
on fire today. He's mad.
I am mad. But yeah, exactly. So come and listen to us on our audio platforms. Yes, exactly. So yeah, Amazon, all that stuff. I should kick myself
Somebody's
out of
going to get the
Amazon.
horns today.
But it's gonna happen. I'm starting to cut off some stuff. So yeah. Becoming whatever's yeah, that's it. I'm not gonna talk about that because it's gonna get me pissed off. So yes,
Yeah,
We're
how you
talking
doing,
about
guys?
We're talking about it.
seeing a mad Canadian in your first time in life. Here's something to see.
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
No, and he's got a right to
I
do
am
that.
being a patriotic Canadian. So yeah, exactly. So some people are gonna have to understand. So I'm not buying any
that's all
more
good.
red USA wine right away on the
That's,
spot.
that's your choice.
Yeah,
So
and no more.
obviously,
Sure.
what Verm's referring to is the tariff thing.
Yeah. So
And
whatever's tariffed, I'm not
what
buying anymore.
what I found funny about the whole tariff thing is a couple days prior, there was this big speech by Trudeau, and he was talking mass smack and said he was going to put a bunch of tariffs on us. And then Trump said, "Hey, no problem. The tariffs I'm putting on you, there you go, tariffs back." And so we're both tariffing each other.
So
And
we're gonna reverse that.
what?
Trump put 25% tariffs on the Canadian market, and everybody got ready. And the Canadian government said we're going to do the same thing. Trump came back and said, if that's what you want to do, I'm going to double it. So that's the real story.
Okay. I haven't heard that part.
It's the real story. We know because we hear about it here.
All I know is there's tariffs.
If you remember, he signed a book saying, how do you call that again? How do you call that when he signed I'm trying to remember.
Like an autograph?
No. When he done at the desk, the 78 ones that we talked about.
An executive order?
Yeah, thank you very much. An executive order. And one of them was the tariffs. So
yeah, and we knew those were coming. He told everybody.
We did.
He told and before he got elected, he was going to do it.
Yeah. And the one thing is, I've always found, when it goes good, because one of the big lies is about the fentanyl. I'm talking about the northern border fentanyl.
I don't think much fentanyl comes across the northern border.
No, the northern border, we took over. We decided. I mean, not me. Okay, I'm talking.
We do get a lot. We get a lot of terrorists that cross the northern border. We had a lot of illegals that cross the northern border.
No, that's been handled because they had a talk and they've added people to the border. They added whatever the Americans wanted. It's been added. And it's been neutralized, and now there's not really any more issue. Not even 1%, not even. So then we can hear in his speeches that they're still talking about it as if it is a big thing. So we all know why.
I think he's going to talk about it because it's a talking point. Just like it's no difference than what Joe Biden was doing or. Trudeau was doing, or Macron was like all these world leaders. They get a hold of something and they just keep repeating it over and over and over and over.
Yeah.
And I agree with you, but I mean,
I do want to remind everybody, okay, sorry. I don't want to cut you off. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I do want to remind everybody that, by the way, because you guys are seeing all three of us here, I'm Canadian, so I'm on the Canadian side, and my both friends here, and I do say it dearly, they are my friends and brothers, are American. So I just want you to know that if whatever I throw out, it's because it's Canadian. Whatever Akai or Truxan throws out,
we're still going to eat
the American
later.
So we have both versions, because don't forget, there's censoring being done, maybe on both ends.
Yeah, what I hear may be totally something that's happening totally different in Canada, and one of the things that you brought up earlier was before we went on the air was how the Trump White House was kicking certain news agencies out of the morning press briefings. Well, I think part of that is because those news agencies constantly lied about that man for 8 years, last 8 years, and he's just had enough of it. And he's like,
I already knew about the Associated Press.
No. But
I already knew about the Associated Press being kicked out.
Yeah. There is. I'm going to say this. In the defense, I remember you telling me that you guys have freedom of speech.
We do.
And you keep telling me that we're communists and we're not allowed to talk. And it's not true. We're allowed to talk. But I mean, we always been.
I can post stuff on Facebook and not go to jail.
Yeah, no, but we don't because I would be maybe I would be in jail already. No, we're allowed to. We're allowed to speak.
Post freedom to truckers on your website and see how fast you get your stuff.
No, that's something else.
Oh, what about that's another the truckers in the first place up there?
No, but I mean that's something else. That's something else.
Whoa! I mean, that's freedom of speech. They did a peaceful protest, and what did your government do?
I understand.
Their rules for a peaceful protest are different than our rules for a peaceful protest.
Not so only that,
I'm going to have to play devil's advocate.
Because if you remember, we're talking about that. So if you remember, they've been there for a while. They've never been touched. The prime minister let them say their things. But there's something else that popped out There's some
What
other
about taking the money
crap.
away?
No, but
freezing?
there was some crap. I'll give you the example when I'm talking about crap. It's the same thing when people went to the Capitol. If you remember on your end, there's some people that get mixed up in the groups that are personally not even part of it, but what their main objective is to get
Cause trouble.
Yeah, thank you very much. That's what I'm trying to say. So that's what happened on both ends. So it happened on your side and it happened on the trucker side, because mainly all truckers were peaceful. They were just like protesting, like a lot of people do in both countries. Even there, you can see even France is even worse. So, but technically, someone got messed up in this, and then that's where it all went to the hell. Same thing as the Capitol. I mean, there's some people that done problems, and that's what ignited the whole crap. So it's a little bit the same thing, okay? So
yeah,
I'm not saying that I'm defending. I'm just saying
I'm not defending what he's doing, but the reason why is those news agencies have done nothing but give him a hard time the last 8 years, and every time it goes to court, they get proven wrong. They don't have any evidence. They don't. And that's the thing. They've been trying to say like he's got Russian collusion and all this other crap, and none of their evidence pans out. But they can't prove it.
But the thing is, if you have, and this is my point, okay, because that's what I'm seeing lately. If you have freedom of speech, like he said, and he said it at the Congress thing, he said, we are now a free country to speak, and I've decided to do that, and I cut everything off, so now everybody's free to talk.
I'll talk now.
If you're free to talk, you do not control people. You're not allowed to control. You're supposed to be passionate and say, hey, you want to talk? No problem. When it's
how do you? How do you?
It's like that Congress guy, the Congress guy with the cane. I don't know what's his name. He started going.
Oh, the one at the State of the Union address?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, because I don't know all the titles.
He was making a public disturbance. He was told to be quiet. He refused to be quiet, so he was asked to leave.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, when you show that you clear out while you're doing your speech, you're clearing out the negative people. You're not showing the right thing.
I don't think that would change anywhere in the world what happened to that guy. If I came up and I was sitting in the National Congress of Canada and I did the exact same thing, I am sure a nice bailiff would come over and they go, you need to be quiet or sit down or get the heck out of the building.
Yeah, I'm not going to say that you're wrong. I am not, because
so how do you know you're not getting lied to, Verm? Because how do you know you're not being lied to? I mean, it's like bad enough we have to watch 2 to 3 different.
It's super hard.
No.
Yeah, and it's something where we have to watch Fox, we have to watch CNN, and we have to watch other news things just to get maybe 3/4 of the story. Then we have to go jump online and dig into it. How do you know that the government's not controlling your news media and saying, hey,
because
that's what they were doing down here with Biden. I mean, like that's what they ended up doing down here with Biden. Biden was literally saying, hey, tell these news media to knock it off. Tell these social media companies to censor this stuff. It's something. How do you know that they're not doing it up there like Biden did down here and his people?
So to answer your question, okay, I'm like a Kai on some stuff, and Akai knows me because it's been more than 10 years, so I like to dig deep into stuff.
We'd like to find the truth.
Yeah, and before I say something, I go through a lot of platforms just to make sure. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
What happened there? Okay, just to make sure. So it's mainly, to answer your question, is when I seen what I talk about now is what I see what's going on. what I see, that like when he had that speech, a 2-hour speech or something like that at the Congress.
Yeah, he had
is it the Congress? Is that what it's
he had
called?
he had what's called State of the Union.
Yeah. Well,
And
no, the one that he
it's
had,
in
the
front
big
of,
one.
yeah, it's in front of both houses.
Okay, that's it. Okay.
And they go through and they, this guy was a great American and he did X for the country, and this guy, yeah, there was a lot of that. But and speaking of that, it was really sad to see that when that kid that had brain cancer was given a Secret Service badge, going to be sworn, not one Democrat cheered for that kid.
I'm going to shoot you.
And unfortunately, those things are so lockstep party politics that they can't unscrew their brains for 5 minutes to go, hey, this person died, we should cheer what's being done. This person, is done a great adversity and fought through brain cancer and is still wanting to become a police officer, and we're going to give him an honorary title.
Yeah, bro.
And the whole left is just like, piss on you, we don't care about you. And not gonna be wrong, the Republicans have done it in the past too. But I think a lot of the people that are around today are tired of both those sides. We're tired of being lied to. We're tired of being told, no, you can't love your country. You can't defend your country. You can't, you must pay exorbitant taxes to your country. No, your town must be run through with illegal aliens from all over the world that didn't come here the proper way. And people have just had it. So I think that's why you're seeing a lot of this, and unfortunately it's going to impact everybody in the world, because the tariffs are going to get charged to all these countries. It's going to happen.
Well, I mean, it's not going to happen. It's happening now.
Yeah, it's good. It's going to happen. If you haven't been charged a tariff, you're getting one soon. And the reason is we're $37 trillion in debt. We owe people money. And if we don't pay it back, the American economy is going to tank. And unfortunately, everybody's economy in the world is practically tied to the U.S. dollar.
Yep.
And if we don't start making money and start paying off debt that all these politicians, all the way back to when we first started the Federal Reserve, have been getting us into, and that's what he wants to do. He's like, look, we used to run the government on tariffs. All the social programs were run on the tariffs.
But it's not going to help anybody. It's not even going to help you guys.
That's why we got the office of Doge.
You're charging tariffs on stuff that you guys have to buy.
Uh-huh.
You have no choice. You have to buy it, because even
I'm expecting my lumber costs to go up 25% because of the tariffs.
Yeah. So
you know what? It is what it is.
Even the cars. It's like you said.
But he wants to bring that manufacturing back to the U.S.
So
he wants to bring that back to the U.S.
We don't have a lot of manufacturing jobs, and he wants to bring them back to the United States.
I understand.
Canada does the same thing on farm goods.
No, I know.
They won't even let us ship farm goods into Canada.
How long is it going to take to build a new plant? 5 years.
I remember that.
Oh,
we have enough equipment around here. We have enough equipment,
No, you don't, because that's why you're shipping it all around. That's why you're taking it all over the.
American people are getting tired of not having the manufacturing.
Not American people.
Jobs. Yes, American
50%,
people are getting tired
50%.
of it. Of losing their jobs.
50% of what? Shush,
no, I mean you're saying. No, he's saying American people are getting tired. It's the 50% of them that voted Trump.
More than 50%.
Yeah, 50% of them. 50% of them that voted for Trump.
And now we're about at 64% of unsatisfaction.
What did you know?
Yeah.
No, that's wrong. He's at like 84% positive.
Okay,
the last thing
we're
I
not
saw.
having the same numbers. We're
Yeah.
not having the same numbers. But whatever. I can't do nothing about that. The only thing that I'm saying is, if you want to have the cars back, it's okay. You know, at the first place, it should have maybe never gone. I'm gonna say like Trump now. It should have maybe never gone to other countries. But the reason why it's gone to other countries, it's because of the salaries. It's because of, just look at you guys. How much is the American dollar? 150, 155, I think even maybe more now because of the crash.
I don't know what the dollar is.
Oh, just say it's 150. Just say it's 150.
To Canada dollar?
No, the American dollar. When you come and buy in Canada, okay, your American dollar is worth 50% more. What?
$1.43.
Okay,
right now.
well, 43 cents more. So you guys have like a 43% cut on whatever you buy. It's one of the reasons why the movies are being done in
it's not.
God, man.
It doesn't work that way.
No, about ish.
Your labor costs are higher. Your fuel costs are higher. Your healthcare costs are higher. Your food costs, I have no idea. I haven't bought anything there.
Healthcare costs are not in the price of a car.
The healthcare costs are in the cost of labor.
Yeah.
We pay
when
for
I hire somebody to work on a movie set, I'm paying for their labor, which means I have to cover their public health bill.
No, you got to cover. You got to cover the insurance.
Yeah, I pay the taxes.
You got to cover the insurance.
Yeah,
insurance. It's like me when
that's an additional cost.
Yeah, but when I work, I pay a personal insurance. It's like anybody. I think you guys must have the same. I pay a personal. It's not the taxes. I pay taxes.
Yeah.
My salary pays taxes. Maybe it's true. Okay, here. Now I understand what you're telling me. Sorry, it's working. It's working in my head.
Does that make sense?
The salary that you're giving me is income taxed in Canada. You're right. So there is a tax in
there's I forget what your guys' tax percentage is up there, but it's pretty hefty.
Out of Quebec, it's cheaper. In Quebec, it's 15%.
And what's your federal?
And we're not talking about the salary, because the salary is it depends of the bracket.
Say 100,000 a year.
That might go to about 30 something.
Yeah. So pretty comparable to the States.
I got a good bonus this year, and 51% of it is going to the income tax. If that's what you want to hear.
Oh no,
that's because it's extra money. It's extra from my salary.
Theft. It's theft. It really is.
No, I'm not saying I'm wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong.
This is one thing Canadians and Americans could probably agree on, right? Taxes are theft. The government takes more money than they need, so these guys can fly around in their private yachts and go have, whatever dinners wherever they're going with these people, and we pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? If you come to a White House, press meeting and I'm the president, it's going to be a beanie, weenie, and hot dog night, buddy. Oh, what are we having? Oh, that's 7-Up. We can't afford champagne. Enjoy.
Taxes, all these taxes were supposed to be for wartime, and when the war was supposed to be over, it was supposed to go bye-bye.
No,
and they say what happened.
Income tax, property tax, all these taxes that we've levied on the people on both sides of the border. I know here in the States we're supposed to be temporary taxes, and then they'll go away, blah, blah, blah. And everything was supposed to be paid with levies and taxes on business and taxes on things that you purchase, but not on your income, not on your property that you own. That's how some of these people got so wealthy back in the day. And that's how people, our parents' generations and the generation behind them were able to save so much for retirement and everything like that because the taxes were low and they were allowed to expand their growth on their financial growth. They were able to go into markets and buy properties and do this because they had more expendable income to do that with. The food costs were low. Stuff was cheap, and the reason why stuff was cheaper is because it was made in your own country.
Yep.
It must be a Morse code that he done.
That's Morse code. Do you like that Morse code? That's bad Morse code.
Yeah, I know. I remember. That's why I told you it's Morse code. Yeah.
The fuel taxes. The fuel taxes were only supposed to last, if I remember right, 3 years.
Fuel taxes. Holy crap! Yeah. Have you looked at fuel tax? Have you broke down fuel tax on the fuel that you buy? It's like 40. I want to say it's 40 or 70 cents a gallon here is federal tax. Just so I can drive my truck.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and then I got to pay taxes on the tires I buy. I got to pay disposal fees on the tires I buy. And then when I buy engine oil to run my truck, then I got to pay disposal fees on that. Because it's been mandated by some tax that I have to pay a tax. Or a fee. They call it a fee, but it's a tax. But the tariff thing, I don't think we got any way around it, Verm. There's nothing we're going to do. I think these businesses are going to soak it up, spit out a 25% price hike on everything that we buy and sell, and that's going to be it. End of discussion. I think the supply chains will recover because people are... Hold on a second. I'll be right back.
Yeah. So, okay. So what you were saying, Truck Sam?
Well, basically the fuel taxes were only supposed to last like 3 years, and it was supposed to fund all the road
miles.
Data. We can hear you.
I know.
Oh, wait, I'm going to mute him.
Okay. The fuel tax was supposed to be put in a fund,
muted.
and it was supposed to be supporting all the road projects and all, and it was only supposed to last like 3 or 4 years tops, and it would be enough money to support all the road improvements, road repairs, but they just kept it on because it was another source of income, and it's going up and up and up, and it's like, where all this money going to? And it's like we're spending all that money on these outrageous programs and all these high-priced salaries of these federal workers and all that. And it's something where it has to stop. And that's why we're saying, okay, we need to get back to the old ways. Because back in the old days, we had a smaller government, less of a headache, less bureaucracy, and there's some things, we can still keep around, but we can centralize all in a smaller government with not having so many groups to go through.
Okay. You should be able to hear me better now.
Yeah, I unmuted you. We were having a conversation.
It was on my webcam, so I had to switch it to my mic.
No, it's okay.
But it's a better sound.
Yeah, you do have a better sound.
Yeah, and I think that problem exists between both sides of the border.
Well, that's gotta be capping.
The only way you have fair trade between two countries, if it's truly fair trade, is if I can sell my eggs and milk in Canada and you can sell your eggs and milk in the U.S.
Yeah.
That's the only way it's going to be fair.
Okay.
Yeah.
And currently that doesn't happen.
No.
There's reasons, because there's reasons. There's people that are blocking it, and it's not just Canadians.
Well, the other thing is,
Why am I
is it
not allowed to
fair?
transfer?
Is it fair for your government to subsidize like farmers, like your dairy farmers? Because that
No,
did
no,
happen, and they were shipping it
look,
down
I
here
didn't
and
go
selling
deep.
it and all that. So it's
I
something
didn't go
where how's
deep
it
into it.
fair? You know how we can't send our stuff up there without being tariffed, or we can't sell it up there because your government says no.
Well, I didn't
How
go
is that
deep into
fair?
this.
And that they're going to have to sort out because that's way above our pay grades.
No, yeah, and like, that's what I was saying. I didn't go deep into that. So the only thing I know, is when I cross the border, every time they'll check to see, do we have certain meats? Do we have poultry? Do we have, because of,
oh, you can't bring any of that into Canada. Zero.
No, because of you guys do it away, maybe that, or it could be, I'm trying to figure out the way to say
they don't agree with our farming practices. We don't agree with their farming practices.
It's
what it is.
It's
we use chemicals that we use chemicals that they don't like.
Yeah.
And
did you guys have the problems with the chickens? Did you have problems with chickens lately?
They say there's a problem with bird flu crap going around, but I think it's a big farce.
No, but
I think they're playing it up so they can get away with charging more for chicken.
Yeah,
to let you know, the fuel tax on
there's some gimmick
18.4 per gallon.
No, but there's some gimmick. I understand it could be a gimmick. Totally with you, but it's what they're trying not to. Well, what they say is they don't want the mixture of meats to contaminate the Canadian farms, and
I get that,
There's certain,
there's certain things agriculturally, like when I was younger and you used to go to visit a farm in the UK, there was a whole protocol. Like you had to go through and you had to step on these things and wash your feet and wash your hands, and you couldn't bring anything onto the farm because you didn't want to contaminate that farm.
Yeah.
And this is when I lived there. So, and that still happens at all the farms. When you go to pick up or whatever, there's a whole decontamination process because they don't want you to get the herd sick. So
being a trucker,
I totally get that. I totally get that. And but when I'm not going to be able to sell a Canadian I'm not going to be able to sell an American 2x4 in Canada because we got Canadian lumber. Canadian lumber is strong, right?
Yeah.
But Canada ships a ton of lumber to the United States.
Yeah.
We can't ship anything to Canada because our lumber costs too much money. So they're going to tariff it.
Yeah.
So that way American lumber
some of the jobs back. Yeah.
I just die.
And Canada is going to say, hey, you're going to try to ship X product to Canada. We have Canadian companies that produce that product. So we're going to tariff it whatever percentage we feel it's correct. So that way our guys have a chance. And I know you do the same thing I do, Vern.
Yeah.
When I go to the store and I have an American product and a Chinese product, I'm buying the American product 9 times out of 10.
Yeah. Well, that's what we're supposed to do automatically.
Yeah. And Canada is going to do the same thing. Now, if they've got the choice between Canadian wine or American wine, they're probably buying Canadian wine. Don't blame them one bit.
But don't forget that I do love Cabernet Sauvignon coming from California. That's one of my favorite wines. I'm just letting you know, guys.
Yeah.
I'm just being patriotic with my
Canadian beer. And it doesn't, you know what? It's not going to stop me from drinking it.
No.
As a consumer. If you tell me it's going to cost me 25% more a bottle, I'm a cigar smoker. I get hosed every day that I want to smoke a cigar because our tax here in this state is 56%. You know what it goes to next year? 65.
For buying cigars?
For buying a cigar. 65% tax for the state.
Well, it's okay.
No, it's outrageous.
Because it's good for your health.
It's robbery.
It's good for your health, man.
Premium cigars are fine for you. The premium cigars do not affect your health one bit as long as you maintain under 4 cigars a day. So, and I haven't had a cigar today. No, it's a medical study. Go look it up. I wouldn't BS on that one.
No, I'm not saying you're BSing. It's
but
just
you're laughing at me like it's not like a cigarette. You're not inhaling it into your lungs. You're not,
No, you'll go crazy if you do.
But you know what the tax on weed is here?
What?
For medical marijuana and recreational marijuana?
Yeah.
It's 25%.
Okay.
Why don't they go
so
after that?
We tax weed cheaper than tobacco.
Okay.
Explain that.
Unami.
And I've asked politicians to explain it, and I get the same look I'm getting from you guys, that totally dumbfounded, like I have no answer.
Okay.
But I think also that a lot of us just want stuff to be fair and even.
Yes.
And, but let's face it.
We opened ourselves.
We don't make enough money. We don't have a big enough voice. We don't, unless you get a movement behind you. It's the only way you're going to get away with it. And that's why Trump's getting away with it now. And in a few years, whoever takes him over, who's got the momentum of the people, they're going to get away with doing what they want to do for the next 4 years or 8 years.
But the American people is fed up, and they want the job
to
return.
Thing in Canada, depending on which party maintains power.
Well, I don't want to be negative on that. I'm just going to say you keep saying jobs return.
I think jobs will return.
Jobs might return, but you're not going to have people to take the jobs.
Yeah, we will.
Maybe.
If we get rid of all these,
we are having issues.
Social programs that pay all this, like food stamps, all that, because
that's
they don't
a
have
huge
a
thing
job.
that's been happening here lately. Is a lot of these people are being told, "No, we're not paying your social programs anymore. Go get a job."
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's
happening in mass droves. Like,
no, but
there's
if that's
one. There's a couple TikTokers that are complaining about it. Like, they're like, I used to get like $3,000 a month from the government in food stamps, but I made too much money on TikTok, so now they took all my stuff away, and now I owe them $40,000 in back.
I don't see nothing wrong with that.
You got to pay your income tax.
Huh?
You got to pay your income tax.
Well, yeah.
Well,
they're driving a brand new 2024 BMW where, a lot of people I know are driving 10, 15-year-old cars.
Yeah, that's what it irritates me, because all these people know the system, how to get around certain things, and they make the money up the yin yang.
So when I was a younger man and a lot more hot-headed, there was a woman that came into a place where you could spend your EBT stuff and all that. And she drove a Cadillac. Nice one, new one. And do you know what the license plate said?
No.
You ready for this one, Verm? This is what the license plate read. Your tax dollars.
What?
How blatant? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It was here in town. Your tax dollars on the back of a Cadillac.
Oh,
how am I supposed to feel anything for these people? And people come into the system, and there's so much stuff going on, and I'm getting it all confused with each other. Like, we had immigrants staying in luxury hotels instead of detention centers and camps, right? We had immigrants that come in, illegal immigrants. They're not here legally. Illegal immigrants that come in, they've broken the law. They've come into this country. They're requesting asylum. We give them food stamps. We give them medicine. We give them all the stuff that a citizen would get. But then when a citizen wants to apply, and this is fact, you can go look it up. we don't have the money to help the citizens.
I have just 2 stories.
You are totally dead, Verm. I can't hear you.
No. How?
But so we have all that going on with all the citizens not being able to get social programs or send their kids to school because their school has been turned into a school for illegal immigrants and their kids no longer have a school to go to. That happened in New York. And there's stuff like this all over the place. And the people are fed up. And I don't blame them.
Well, it reminds me back in the 90s.
We want to know if there's gold in Fort Knox. We want to know if our country is still financially salvageable.
Okay.
Are you talking, Berm?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at because I was seeing see my
your voice meter.
Yeah, my voice meter, and it wasn't working anymore. I was going, "What the heck's going on?"
I got two things.
Okay.
When you get done, back in the 1990s, early 2000, I was unemployed. Needed some medical. I was barely covering everything else. Needed some medical done. Went down and said, "Hey, I'm unemployed. I need a little help on medical. I barely can take care of it for a while." And they said, "Oh, you made too much money this year." I'm like, "I'm just asking for a little help here, and you saying I can't get it." And I would make that year. I made $17,000 back in
that's above
late.
Yeah, but that's above. Yeah, you made more money than you made above $12,000.
Yeah. Then getting back to what incident about the tax dollar license plate. I actually, when I worked in a convenience store back in 1998, I was working out in Omaha in a convenience store, and this lady pulls up in not even a year-old Mustang, comes in, buys a bunch of food, puts it down, I told her the price. Oh, here's your food stamps. I'm like, what the heck? And she had a daughter with her, and she was pregnant, and says, it's like, yeah, she's collecting the food stamps too. And she was like probably 17, 18 years old. And she was showing her the ropes of the system. I'm like, what the heck? It floored me. I mean,
there's multiple generational welfare families that have never had a job in the United States.
Okay.
That started in the 60s and 70s. And their parents were on welfare and their kids were on welfare and they never had a job. Never worked.
I think we should go. I'll be honest, I think
there are people out there that could totally fill in the work market. Mm-hmm. The bodies are there. Annoying. It's just going, hey, we're cutting off your federal aid and your state aid because you really, one, don't deserve it. And two, we have a job right over here working at this plant in America. We have a job working at this factory in Canada. We have a job working here. There are lots of jobs out there.
Yep.
I found a job. It's a lot harder for me to find work because I'm broken. But I found a job.
Yeah.
Broken medically.
So
you got to make that clear.
Yeah. Mentally, I'm a little crazy. But
but the other thing is, a lot of these people nowadays, I think we should go back, instead of these food stamps, I think we should go back to commodities like they used to do in the old days. No more food stamps. Because I used to work at a Walmart. And I hate
government
working.
cheese.
Oh, yeah.
That stuff is so good.
Oh, yeah. Well, the other thing is, it's something where I work, every first of the month, I have to deal with the welfare people, and some of them were nice, some were rude. And I listened to the cashiers, and they said, "Oh yeah, this person brought up 2 grocery carts, racked up. I think it was like $1,400, and they still had another $1,400 left on their food. Like, I'm lucky I might buy a grocery cart load of food per month with my income.
Well, it looks like you didn't miss any meals. And on top of that,
they don't know how to cook.
Okay.
True. But
He didn't miss any
it's
meals,
something
folks.
where-
He's doing fine.
Yeah, I just went out and killed a couple of squirrels and rabbits and all that. But it's something where, a lot of them, they don't know how to cook. They all put it in the microwave. They get all this prepared food, and they have soda on there. Like, why the hell is soda on there? You can no.
It
No, I'm
amazes
sorry.
me what
No.
you can and can't buy on food stamps. Like, you can't
Yeah.
buy
I mean,
prepared food. Something crazy, like there's a prepared food rule, and
it was already made. Now, if it was frozen, they can't.
and
They can buy pizza.
well, and they have stickers in some of these stores. There's big orange stickers that says EBT okay or something like that they put on some of this food so people know that, hey, it qualifies for food stamp food. And I'm just like, I understand why the stores advertise it.
Lobbyists does this. They want their business to grow, because it's like, if the food business get an EBT qualified, they can get all that EBT money.
Yeah, but
they go back to commodities where you're actually having to cook and prepare your food.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, they actually spend less money because they can buy it in bulk. They can go up to a farmer and say, okay, we want to buy so much of your pork. How much can you give us at a bulk discount? Or how much grain we can buy from this granary?
I remember some
they
people
can buy it in bulk.
They were on that. They would get that government cheese, and they would get that stuff it was made with, it was like grade A. I mean, that stuff was top notch, dude.
Oh yeah.
And
oh yeah. Oh.
And you couldn't even buy it on the civilian market.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, the government's got a lot of fixing to do, and Doge keeps finding millions and millions of dollars, which I know people don't like what Elon Musk is doing. But the majority of the people that are working for Doge don't even get paid. They're doing it voluntarily.
Yeah, to get
Elon Musk the same thing, right? Wasn't
he? To get the information. There's a couple of guys in there that are hackers, man.
They're all hackers.
Gone fishing.
Yeah, but there's one in there that he's a guy that connected to Russia.
Well, you'd have to show
one of them. One of the younger ones.
Can you give me proof?
That's one of the younger
Do you have
ones.
proof? Do you have proof?
I'd have to go dig.
You got to give us proof here.
I gotta go dig in it. A guy's gonna dig in it.
And you're talking gray house hackers, where they skid that borderline.
They need to be.
Now,
hackers.
I have no problem with gray house hackers.
No, but they need to be hackers.
Because a lot of this money.
I accidentally fell into wrench.
Well, the other thing is that money is doing a U-turn and lining pockets of U.S.
No.
people that are like, hey.
Yeah.
We can't give you the money up front, but if you make your organization over here and say you'll do this, we can send you this money and you can bring it back to the U.S. So that's how they bribe.
I understand that he's done a certain good job in some parts, because
he's talking about a $5,000 refund check.
When you're paying someone that has 350 years old. And he's been proving how much money has been given out to people from 200 to 250 years old. So there's a lot of money that's being.
They just found.
And basically, what
they just found a whole other mess of social security numbers that lead to nobody.
That's it.
No, they had all the old. They had the old people one, but they just here recently in the last couple of days, they had another big swath of social security numbers they found that lead to it was 20 million numbers, which is oddly the exact same amount of numbers that were the votes of what decided the last election between Biden and Trump.
Now, where's this money going to? We should be going after the bank account.
I can tell you where it's going to. You want me to tell you? Here's my conspiracy theory. You ready for this one? I'm going to tell you my conspiracy theory. You know what? And Verm's back there smiling, because during COVID, I would have all these conspiracy theories, and Verm would be like, "You're so full of crap, Sam. Why do you keep saying this stuff? And it's 6 months later. Holy crap, Sam, it's true.
Bro, how do you
So, are you ready for this one, bro?
I'm
Here you
taking
go.
off my
Take-
glasses.
Take the glasses off. I think this has been a big political thing in the system for decades, where they've got people working in these organizations so they can input false social security numbers in. They get that social security check. It goes to so-and-so's account or place or whatever and gets deposited, right? $800, $1,200, whatever it is.
You can do this right.
Then those people are constantly funneling money into a bigger account. And that bigger account runs a super PAC or something like that works for the Democratic Party. And
Ragnar.
the reason why they're getting so upset
It just wasn't that fun.
is because USAID was a big funnel of cash for a lot of Dems.
Mhm.
Social Security, big funnel of cash for a lot of Democrats and other political parties. They have learned to work and coerce the system for contracts and money to get filthy rich. And the senators and congressmen, both sides, have figured out, because there was a big thing that they were doing right before Biden left office, is they were doing $20 billion worth of money went to these EPA green groups like overnight, just out of the accounts. It's one of the things Doge uncovered, and now they're trying to claw that money back. But it went to one political group that went to another political group that, oddly enough, was tied to some person in Congress in the Democrat Party that, wow, this is their green energy group that they're sponsoring. But all of a sudden they got,
their CEO,
$3 billion in the bank, from the federal government to do something, and they don't even have a budget yet. Within 90 days, they got to call in and get a budget class.
Seriously,
there's all kinds of crazy stuff like that.
No, I know. He said it in the Congress. He spilt it out. He said everything. There's some stuff that's been given for trans
dude, we're
party of whatever
trans studies in Peru.
Yeah, that's it. Stuff
What
like
do we-
that.
Why do we have to care about Peru? I mean, we care about Peru. Don't get me wrong, but why do we need to study their, and try to push transgenderism in Peru? We don't.
Yeah.
We need to worry about our
Sesame
people
Street.
here.
So, by the way, Ragnar's putting his aluminum foil hat for some reason.
Say it all you want.
It's going deep.
Say it all you want. Put your aluminum hat on. In 6 months to a year, that stuff's going to be true. Mark my words.
Hey, and I'm sure he's putting his Canadian aluminum hat.
I'm telling you what, that you keep
Aluminum that comes from Canada.
No.
There I live.
The only thing is what it
Fire.
comes down to is
Yeah.
the jobs, the market, the manufacturing. That's what all is tied into. They want to bring it back here, so
No,
we're not dependent on other
well,
countries.
and
Again.
well, China alone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
again,
yeah.
I'm for it. I'm for it. I mean, I'd say the same thing here. Why aren't we producing our own? I can't talk about my company, but I mean, say that we have a product that we buy in the United States. Okay, why can't we just produce it here? The same label, the same stuff, just use products from Canada. You know what I mean? Both countries have to maintain labor work,
Mhm.
and
it's patents,
it's
trademarks.
It's going to cost you guys
And,
more.
and here's the reason why it's not made in Canada, right? If we'll say, if we're going to use a generic product, a coffee cup, right? Just a regular coffee cup, right? If I make this product in America or Canada, it's going to cost me 50, 60 bucks. Labor, insurance, product, material, all that stuff, right? But if I make it in China, if I make this in China, it costs me $2. And I take that product and I pay 25% tariff on $2, which now makes it what? $2.50. Right? And then I turn around and I put it in your country and I sell it for, what would I sell it for? No,
Are you talking
the
about
American made one's $50. The Canadian one makes $50. I turn around, I put it on the market, and I sell it for $40.
Yeah.
And I undercut all the ones that you make, and I'm making a ton of profit. I don't have to pay the labor laws. I don't have to pay taxes in your country. I don't have to do any of that stuff. I am not supporting your country. When I buy a Chinese product in America, I am not supporting the United States.
No,
any form or function.
You're supporting China.
But remember one thing.
Are you supporting that country where you're buying it from?
Well, cell phones.
And on top of that,
cell phones cost $10 to manufacture in China.
No, I know. Akai. I just want to tell you this. Who started to send American production in China? Who started that? It's not the Chinese.
Oh, America.
Chinese gave their off.
NAFTA. No. It started with NAFTA when we opened up the borders.
It was way before
Mexico
NAFTA
and Canada. No. If you look
NAFTA.
back at the timeline,
before NAFTA.
No.
This started way before NAFTA.
No.
Way before
it
NAFTA.
has to be. It's profit. Hey, it's nothing but profit.
All big companies wanting to make more profit. That's why we outsourced all our IT to India. That's why we are sourcing all our accounting to India. That's why we're sourcing all our radio stations are now literally decimated across the countries here. And they'll have one dude operating 1,000 radio stations from an internet platform with the same talk show host. It's no local guys anymore. It's no more local businesses running that stuff anymore. It's because larger corporations wanted to make more profit, and they found it more profitable to send all those workforces to cheaper places and make less jobs and taxes in America.
That's
basically
what I meant.
They have less labor laws. They have less OSHA. They have less. They have to watch out what they do with their employees. They go to China. They don't have that. It's very much the company.
That's what I'm saying.
They rule.
It's not the Canadian and the American that are really the issue. They're sending their production.
It's the politicians in the company.
Yeah.
Well,
I could say that.
NAFTA had a lot to do with things progressing faster, because that meant a Mexican truck driver could drive all the way to Canada with no problems. He doesn't pay taxes on our road. He doesn't pay insurance over here. He doesn't.
No, but that's it. But I mean, we're always going like we're talking about these tariffs and stuff like that. But I mean, technically, it started with the companies. So technically, who has to reiterate and bring this back? It should be brought back. They should keep American companies, American-made car companies in Canada for the Canadian production. They should make Canadian American companies. I mean, the American company should go back to Detroit and start all over again for the American business.
I can see that. I have no problem with that. It's just where now, if you're talking about a foreign business coming in trying to do that, because that's what China's trying to do, is to avoid all these tariffs, is they're going to get these other countries, and they'll start business there, and they send everything from that China to them in that country, stick a little stamp on it saying, "Oh, it's manufactured or produced here," and they send it over to where it needs to go, and they can avoid that tariff. And that's why he's aiming at each of these countries. It's like, no, you're getting you're against us. It's like over in Europe, they hardly buy any vehicles at all, or farm equipment.
I'm gonna get off now.
So
but we're buying their vehicles, buying their farm equipment and everything else. Hey, that's kind of unfair there.
I don't think it's unfair. If you live in a country over in Europe and you want to buy a product that's made in your country versus buying John Deere or Case, God, that's your prerogative, man.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, when we try to send stuff over, my understanding, what I read into it, was they would not take none of the stuff.
Well, they don't have to.
Or they put a high enough tariffs where it's not, they can't sell at a decent price.
They don't have to take it.
But when we take theirs,
that's called free market.
They don't. But what I'm saying, it is. But it's something where, it has to be fair.
Be fair how?
There, they get tariffed. Okay.
They're not
free market is like,
okay. Let's say John Deere is sending stuff to Unga Punga. Right? We're not going to use any country names. We're going to make it up. And Unga Punga says, yeah, every John Deere that comes into this country, we're going to charge a 25% tariff on it. Because Unga Punga has 3 of the greatest Unga Punga tractor makers in their country. And by God, we're going to buy their tractors. And we want to be able to support them. Yeah. Well, John Deere is going to have to come with one hell of a deal to undermine the Unga Punga market to buy tractors. And to get people to switch that have been using Unga Punga tractors for their whole life.
Yeah.
So
basically, we should, if they're sending it over to us, we should tariff them 25% too, right?
Perfect. Yeah.
Okay.
But that's what they want to do with those Chinese electric cars. I have no problem. That's what they want to do with those Chinese electric cars.
Oh,
those Chinese electric cars, those Chinese and electric cars are coming in at a cost point of $9,800.
Yeah, you could buy a car for about not even $12,000.
If you tariff it 25%,
subsidized by their government.
I don't care who they're subsidized by.
Yep.
If they come in and we charge them a 25 or 30% tariff, they will still be cheaper than any electric car on the market.
Even Mexico now has their electric cars.
Okay.
Mexico took out some electric cars now.
Be careful with the whole free trade statement. Because they're going to be like, fine, send your Tesla to China. Nobody can afford to buy it.
They already have.
Talking about Tesla.
To buy, it's the rich people that can afford to buy it. It's not the average working person. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you send a car over to the United States, it's like Toyota was coming out with that $10,000 truck, right?
Yeah.
It'll probably never come to America. Total crying shame because I want one. Yeah. I think that's phenomenal. I want a truck that I could take and beat the snot out of, and I'm out $10,000. I'm not going to cry about it. Yeah. Right? Yeah. But if I want to go buy a truck nowadays, I'm looking at 70 to 200 grand for top of the line. What's that T-Rex go? That T-Rex Raptor thingy, $140,000, $180,000 for a
180
truck?
Yeah. The damn pickup with a couple of suspensions.
And I can't even
I'm sorry, but
and if you go buy a fleet model is still going to set you back $50,000.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. Talking about ridiculous. It's already that time, Akai.
Is it? It went that fast?
We're having too much fun.
Hey, you need to pull this up and put it on the screen. And I want to show you this.
No, I went to go see it. It's your they've talked about it enough on the news. It's the Dodge.
No, but you should show these numbers.
I don't got double screen, Akai. That's why.
Well,
I'm not on the right computer.
I will say some of these numbers. There are.
I would have done it, but it's just because I don't got double screen.
The social security numbers in the system, which I don't know what's your social security number thing called in Canada.
It's the same thing.
Is it Social Security? And between the ages of 40 and 49, 581 false Social Security numbers getting paid.
That's BS.
And these numbers continue all the way to 190 to 199 years old. 448 people are getting paid from Social Security. Hold on. I've never seen anybody live over 120 unless we're getting into some biblical stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. I think
is it
130 the oldest living person? Something like that. But once you break that, they got here's 140 to 149 years old. 3,500,000 people. That's a world record, dude. Where are these people?
No, I know. I mean, when he said it, I was going like, oh, wow. Okay.
And we're paying these people, Verm. There's a lot of stuff that needs to get straightened out. And I understand this is not a lot of people's favorite guy to do it.
No.
But my question is why didn't the people before and the people before that person and the person before that person and the person before that person and the person before that person do something to stop this crap? Because they were all getting rich off of it.
Maybe yes, maybe
122 years old is the oldest person.
You can't look AOC, right?
Go ahead.
Look up AOC's wealth. Look up AOC's wealth on your computer. AOC's wealth. She's a senator. She's a broke bartender that came to Congress like 8-10 years ago, and she's worth a bucket full of cash now. How do you get to be a bucket full of cash making $100,000 a year? By lying, cheating, and stealing. That's how. Insider trading.
I can't say.
It's like Pelosi.
Oh, yeah, Nancy Pelosi.
Pelosi had all that. Oh, yeah. And her husband and all that. They were making good trades.
Yeah. So, with that said, ladies and gents, we are going to shut down. We had a lot of fun tonight.
$29 million.
Yeah.
$29 million. I want her stock guy.
Call him
because if you could take $100,000 a year and expenses, you got to live in DC, you got to live in New York, you got to do all this stuff. You're making what, 150,000 a year? That doesn't leave much left over in the kitty to put in investments. But that guy turned that stuff into $29 million. I want that guy. And if you want to read something that's pretty good, you want to see something that's pretty good, there is an app. And I know I'm dragging us long, and I apologize.
Yeah.
But there is an app that I want everybody out there to go check out. And this will just frustrate you even more. It's called Autopilot. And Autopilot is an AI investing tool that you can actually invest real world money into. But you can actually pick members of Congress and Senate to follow. And some of these people have like 45-50% gains on their tax portfolios, when it's hard pressed for a seasoned financial guy to get 20. So just think about that.
And on average, about 15.
Oh, 10%, you're doing good.
12.
10%.
Okay.
If you're getting a 10% return a year, you're doing good, aren't you, Verm? And they're getting 45%.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, here's Buffett. Buffett is getting 24%. You know what Nancy Pelosi's getting?
What?
45.
That's good. Makes a lot of money.
Yeah, what insider trading information did she get?
Oh God.
And
We're not
That's what
gonna
Congress
we,
is basically.
yeah, we're not going to get to this all in one show. We'll hit this next week. But
yeah, we'll have to talk about it next week. So okay, Sam.
And that's one thing we should try to find for next week. We should try to find news articles. And I want to do this because we talked about this earlier about how the media is trying to swing us in different directions, where it says one thing in Canada, but we're being told something totally different in the United States. So I would like to delve in that and share that with people. That way we could show the truth and show what's happening.
Yeah, not a problem. Okay, can you do your speech?
Please like and subscribe and come out to vermlandradio.com where we have a swag shop there. We got a little store. You can go in and buy stuff like coffee cups and that stuff. My coffee cup's buried in there. I can't get to it right now. It's full of pens, and I will probably spill it all over the inside of my computer. So they're useful for more than coffee parts. So I use it for bits and bobs, but you can buy other t-shirts, sweatshirts, all that stuff. But also do not forget our friends at ruthlesswrestlers.com and go out there and use your VermFans RR10 code, to go out there and buy some wonderful products from those people. They help us and we're trying to help them. So please go give them a thing, and please like and subscribe and share us with your friends. Appreciate it very much.
Yeah, exactly. And don't forget that we do rebroadcast in audio. So on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, on iHeartRadio, and Amazon Podcasts. So we should be going to different other ones, but I'm going slowly but surely. So come and listen to us also, and try to join. It'd be great to help us out and join on these platforms. It always helps out. So, ladies and gents, thank you very much, Ragnar. I know you were there. Thank you very much for all that information, like you usually do. And who else? There was only Ragnar tonight that was texting us. So everybody have a nice night, and see you next week. Same time, same hour, same people.